It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. I'm Caleb Gill. We've got Drew Nelson. We've got Cam Braun. The fraud, Dylan Schroeder's not with us here tonight. But we do have, I'd say, a decent amount to talk about in terms of our teams this week here after week 9 of the NFL season. Yesterday, we're recording this on Wednesday. Yesterday was a huge day on the American landscape. The NFL trade deadline went through. We'll see how we manage some of those. Trade discussions that happened or trades that did go through. But let's jump right into Thursday Night Football with the New York Jets and the Houston Texans. This is a game that I had no expectations coming in. It was on Halloween. My mind wasn't on this game, guys. Like, I have on my phone as I'm sitting there at my mom's house. It's my sister's birthday, so I'm just kind of like nonchalantly watching it. And the first half went about as I expected. It was dog shit for the Jets that first half. Aaron Rodgers looked cooked. He looked cooked. The Jets gave up a 98-yard drive on defense. And I thought it was really over right there. And then the second half comes around, and it's a completely different team. They had momentum. They were moving the ball down the field. I think they scored on like 3 straight possessions. Maybe not quite 3 straight possessions, but they got in the end zone a couple different times. And the first time they thought they got in the end zone, Malachi Corley dropped the ball right before getting to the goal line.
So
and that actually, I saw that. I'm like, we're losing this game. There's no way that we're not losing this. It's just how the night's going. You drop the ball at the goal line, and then you give up a 98-yard drive. But one thing the Jets defense has been able to do is limit C.J. Stroud. Last year, C.J. Stroud looked terrible against the Jets defense. And I'm not saying he looked terrible, but he didn't look good this week against the Jets. He did have some...
I'll take he hasn't looked good in the last few weeks.
He hasn't looked as good as we would have expected. He hasn't taken that second-year jump, but...
Is he a Nico Collins merchant?
Maybe. I still think ultimately he's going to be fine. I don't have a lot of concerns about him. I just think maybe the expectation was a little too high for him heading into this year because of how good of a rookie season he had. But on the Jets side, it was a completely different Aaron Rodgers that second half. He was finding Garrett Wilson, who had probably the best catch ever at MetLife Stadium on a night game. Mostly because the Jets actually won and the Giants didn't beat the Cowboys.
Everyone forgets that.
Yep. The Jets actually beat the Texans. Joking aside, I did not think that was a catch. I thought after the George Pickens play that happened a few days earlier, like the double foot thing, I thought he had double foot. I thought, all right, well, sick catch, but it's not going to count. Apparently a shin counts for 2 feet.
Yeah, I've always thought like the shin and like forearm thing being down was always like
it's weird. Because if it's
always, like you always think elbow, knee, and like your body obviously is down.
Right. It's weird that your shin can be down but your knee isn't.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like if you were falling down, like yeah, I guess as your leg is like coming down, like technically your like shin and stuff hits first,
right.
But it's pretty much the same motion.
Like I didn't
and
get...
it's also the same way like your leg and your body, if your shin is down inbounds and the rest of it's going out of bounds, It's almost like the same thing where, like, if you touch your tippy toes, but your back is facing out of bounds, and you're on your tippy toes on the sidelines, technically that's not in bounds because your foot will come down out
Right.
of, like, it's one of those weird, like, things that doesn't make sense in the NFL and catching rules. So
Like,
we're just kind of making it up.
I thought
as
we
it
had a good
happens.
grasp on what a catch was. Apparently not. The last week or so, it's like, shit, we really don't. Especially, like I said, after the George Pickens catch, no catch, I thought for sure that was going to be ruled incomplete. When it was ruled a touchdown, that's when I knew we were winning that game. It's like, oh, things are starting to click. Because that was his second touchdown. That's the second one-handed touchdown of the night. Like, that play is going to get repeated over and over and over again for a long time. But what people will forget is a drive or two before that, he had a one-handed catch for a touchdown. He was just in stride. He was running in stride. So 2 touchdowns for him. Garrett Wilson struggled earlier this year. I think he is seeing the benefit of Devontae Adams on this team. Because he's not seeing, all the coverage isn't being rolled over to Garrett this year. They have to pick and choose between him and Adams, and so far it's worked. Since Adams has been traded to the Jets, Wilson's fantasy production has skyrocketed. He's getting the targets, he's making the plays, and that's exciting because I knew the potential was there. It was kind of irritating early on when he wasn't getting those targets. And outside of the weird play against the Steelers where it bounced off his chest, when he is targeted, he tends to make the most of it. So I really loved what Garrett did in this game. Breece Hall, early on, had a good game. The thing that I was the happiest about was the offensive line. We were starting... the Jets were playing 4 offensive tackles on the offensive line. Both left guard and right guard were out. The backup right guard got hurt. So Max Mitchell, who is a right tackle, he's a swing tackle, had to come in. And then Olu Fashanu, who's never played guard in his life. I don't think he played in high school. He definitely been playing in college. Hasn't practiced a snap of it. But because he was the next man up and you can only carry so many linemen on that game day roster, they had to play him.
It's easier than tackle, so it's not that much of a difference.
Well, when you don't know it, you don't know it. Like,
who said he didn't know it?
He did.
Never playing the position in your life.
The center, Joe Tittman, had to tell him every single play what he was doing.
Good for Joe. Good teammate.
Yeah, it worked. He did okay for never playing the position. I thought he did fine. I just hope I never have to see him at guard again. Because that's not what he was drafted to do. I thought the offensive line held up well. The pass rush got after it. There's a lot of things to be happy about. Devontae Adams scoring his first touchdown. In that first half where Rodgers looked like he was cooked, part of that was just because he wasn't hitting Devontae Adams. They weren't making that play that they've been so used to. That connection, that chemistry just was off. That second half, it started clicking. And I really think this game showed you exactly who you're going to see with Aaron Rodgers the rest of the year. In both halves, you saw 2 different versions of Aaron Rodgers, and I think you're going to see 2 different versions of Aaron Rodgers throughout the rest of the year. You're going to see games where he looks the age. He's not going to be able to move. He's a 41-year-old quarterback. He's going to make mistakes, and he's going to look tough. But there's going to be moments, maybe not entire games, but there's going to be moments where that MVP Hall of Fame quarterback is going to shine through. I think that's what you're going to get with Rodgers the rest of the year. It's just how often do you get each side is going to determine how far the Jets go.
Just don't throw game-sealing interceptions and he'll be fine.
Well, both those interceptions were when he was throwing to Mike Williams, so that shouldn't be an issue anymore, seeing as Mike Williams was traded from the Jets to the Steelers. 5th-round pick going to the Jets for that. I wasn't a big fan of the trade. The compensation's fine for a guy that probably wasn't going to be here next year. with Alan Lazard on IR, and this supposed to still be like if they lost this game, I'd understand a fire sale, but they won the game, so you're still supposed to at least be selling the idea of hope. So when you're getting rid of wide receivers, like at the top, Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, that's a solid duo. Like after that, it's bleak. Like Malachi Corley, he's had one play, and he put the ball on the 2-yard line. Like if you're going to convince me that a third-round rookie who has been inactive more games than he has even touches is the next man up, and that's supposed to give us hope. It's just I struggle with that. And the other guys are undrafted free agents. I'm fine with development, but you're asking him, you're giving him a role that's bigger than what I think he can handle right now as a rookie. I'm a big believer in general that rookies should be playing a lot year one anyways.
I hate that. Go ahead.
I'm huge on that, where rookies should not play nearly that much year one. So now
Jefferson?
There's exceptions. There's always exceptions.
What about the guy that Dylan's been talking about? Was he a fourth rounder? Some offensive lineman hasn't allowed any sacks and 5 pressures the whole year.
There's exceptions, but they shouldn't be the rule. Most rookies should sit and develop. I don't care where you were drafted either. Like that, I've been huge on that with quarterbacks, especially quarterbacks. I think should sit year one. Few exceptions, but they're outliers. They shouldn't be the expectation. Anyways, that wide receiver room right now looks really bleak, especially with Alan Lazard out for a couple weeks. So we'll see how that translates. And now, good win. They needed that win. It's very Jets-like to get a win like that, where the season feels down, feels like you're out of it, and then you get a win. Right when everybody starts to feel like garbage. And you get it. Thursday Night Football at home. That does bode well for the home team. It's Thursday Night Football. I just don't know if I can still trust this team moving forward. There's a lot of 3-6. The AFC's weak. We can climb back into this thing. I want to see what we do. These next 2 weeks are pivotal. Because we got the Cardinals and the Colts. Again, winnable games, but they're also looking at the Jets as winnable. And that Cardinals game, that's going to be tough. Yeah, because the Cardinals' strength, running quarterback and run game, plays right into the Jets' defense.
Go your mic.
Yep.
There it is.
Jets do not handle the ground game well, and they do not handle mobile quarterbacks well. They don't contain well. So Arizona's strengths play right into the hand of the Jets' weakness. So we'll see. We'll see on that one. Other than that,
I'd like to say one thing about your receiver room. I don't think it's nearly as bad as you think it is.
It's top heavy, but there's no.
You have 2 top tier wide receivers, and that is what you need.
You need depth. Because you are one Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson injury away from this thing being total dog shit. You cannot rely. That's why I'm a huge... Every time that you've called me greedy for wanting a wide receiver, this is why. Because you're one injury away from this being catastrophic.
Don't think about the injury then.
You have to. You have to.
It happens.
Yes, it happens, and you have to be prepared. If an injury happens, the Jets are not prepared. And instead, they got rid of a receiver, making them even less prepared. You need to have... Yes, it's good to have the top-heavy guys, but you still run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. And that third wide receiver, Malachi Corley, can be good. But he's a third-round rookie who hasn't seen the field for good reason up until this point. You cannot sell that you trust him all of a sudden. I understand that, on Madden, having 2 wide receivers is great. but you need more. Because what happens when they're covered and they're not getting open? You need number 3. You need
Bring
the
in your
rotation.
tight ends.
Again, still a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. I just don't like it. I don't like trading good players away when they can still be used. But if Mike Williams and Rodgers just weren't clicking, I get it. I still don't like the trade. I'm not a fan of where the room is at. I do not think this wide receiver room is better now than it was 3-4 weeks ago. I think it's worse. 3-4 weeks ago is when we traded for Devontae Adams. It's a worse receiver room now than it was then, with Allen Lazard hurt and Mike Williams gone. And if you want to make a push for the playoffs, you have to be able to score points. And to be able to score points, you have to have the talent. You have to have the depth. Drew, I mean, how you guys have one good wide receiver there. Everybody else behind them, you're finding that, like, you're seeing that.
Nah, he's got
In
2
Dallas.
now.
We'll
Nope.
talk about that here in a second. I've ranted. I've talked enough about the Jets.
It's the next game.
Yeah, unless anybody else has anything to say about the Texans.
They suck.
Boo.
They are starting to look fraudulent. I still think they finished second seed just because of schedule, and I don't know if they make
In the
the AFC
AFC?
title game. The AFC's weak. It's going to come. That second seed is going to be either them or Buffalo.
It's gonna be Buffalo. Dude, they don't have Diggs.
They're getting Nico Collins
Nico's
back,
coming back.
and I think the Texans are going to be able to take care of business in their division. They're going to win enough games. The Bills have the Chiefs. That's no easy out. The 49ers. They play the Jets again, and the Jets and Bills always is neck and neck. It doesn't matter how bad the other team is. Those games are usually down to the wire. Usually down to the wire. And then they have the Lions also, where the Texans I think based off the schedule, it would not surprise me. Granted, the Bills have the better record now, but schedule-wise, I think it's more favorable. The Texans play the Lions this week, and then it's Cowboys, Titans, Jaguars, Dolphins, Chiefs, Ravens, Titans. So maybe I'm a little wrong on the Texans schedule, but it's going to come. Texans will be either 2 or 3 seed in the AFC.
All right, let's pitter-patter onto the next game.
All right, let's get into that Sunday slate. Let's head over to the NFC South. I don't really want to call this an upset because both teams suck. The Panthers do get their second win of the year, though. Bryce Young, good win for him. I think this just says a lot more about the Saints, though, who fired their head coach, Dennis Allen, this weekend. He should have been gone before he was even hired as a head coach. I've never been a big fan of his, and now Derek Carr's gotten him fired twice.
I'm agreeing with Michael Thomas.
Yes.
Derek Carr's a terrorist. He got Olave killed. Olave, I just saw, is consulting with doctors to see if he should, what he should do about his career with
I saw
as
his
many
brother
concussions
tweeted
as he's
out
got.
saying that he should probably hang it up.
I saw that he should come. I thought he said he should come back, but not for the Saints.
Maybe that was.
Should probably put on some weight,
Maybe he said both.
in my opinion.
I mean, he just gets hit sticked every time.
yeah,
It's
put
like,
on some weight, buddy.
it's not his fault. If he
Oh.
puts on weight, he's just not going to be good,
I mean, you could put on muscle
and then
Muscle
he'll be
weight.
slower.
weight.
Ain't worth
And
it
it'll be
in NOLA,
slower.
I'll tell you that is what his brother said. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's not worth it in New Orleans.
Saints suck. They should have rebuilt as soon as Breeze retired, and they refused to do so for some reason. And now they suck and have the worst cap situation in the league. So
Sorry.
and no coach. Who's gonna want to take over that?
See that? I mean, that kind of same sentiment was said about the Jets. Like the Jets look dysfunctional, but out of the two jobs
done
that are
with the
currently
Jets.
terrible, I'm making a point. Out of the two jobs, the Saints look that much worse right now. Like that's how bad the Saints look because there's no future. They traded away Marcus Lattimore to recoup some draft picks. That's fine. They're going to have to start doing a lot more of that.
Yeah,
And
you're
every
embracing the
single
rebuild
one-
at this point. You should have done it 2 or 3 years ago. There was a
And
time where you were a
rebuilds-
powerhouse, and it's over. It's been over.
The frustrating thing with the
Vikings
Saints.
killed you.
The frustrating
Did they?
thing with the Saints was that when Drew Brees was at his best, that defense sucked. And then when the defense got good was when Drew Brees was starting to... The age was starting to catch up to Drew Brees. Like, I really wanted to see him win another ring. I thought he deserved it. But it was
No.
the timing of both those just...
Well, if they didn't get robbed against the Rams, maybe he could have.
Maybe. But,
Or,
yeah,
you know,
the Saints...
he got his first ring from Bounty Gate, but we're not going to talk about that.
And rebuilds don't usually have to take 5 years. But because of the hell that the Saints have put themselves in, it might take 5 years. Like, rebuilds in the NFL, the Texans rebuilt. All it takes is a quarterback and a good head coach a lot of times. And you're an AFC contender within a year or two. It's not always going to work like that. That's just a big example. But because of the situation the Saints have put themselves in, this is a lengthy process that they're going to have to clear a lot of that dead weight. They're going to have to sign players for cheap, so you're not going to get a lot of good players because they can't afford cap hits. You're probably going to, in the next 5 years, 5 years from now, I expect the Saints to be on their second head coach. At least. Because whoever takes the job in 2025, he'll be gone. He's only going to last 3 years. Because the NFL moves quick and he's not going to win enough because that roster's going to suck. And they're just going to can him.
Good for Bryce Young. Finally taking a victory formation snap. You can't hate that dude. It felt surreal at his press conference. He was just grateful for it. He wasn't having an ego. Good for Bryce Young. Honestly, I can't hate you anymore.
I was happy for Bryce Young.
No, he still sucks.
He does. But still, good for him. Also, good for Jaden Daniels, who's probably going to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. Probably should have been a much larger win. I don't know if that's necessarily Daniels' fault, though, for giving up 22 points to the Giants. But they still edged out the victory, 27-22. Giants look good. They played all right. Just Daniel Jones' ass. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I got. And by the way, Terry McLaurin's not a Hall of Famer.
Nah, he's a GOAT. Hall of Famer.
He's in the Hall of Good.
Hall of Fantastic.
It's crazy,
All right.
actually. Like, something bad should happen to you for that, to be honest. Like, not super bad, but, like, sports-related
He's had
bad.
like 14 different quarterbacks, and he puts up numbers every single year. Quit sleeping on him. I know you're a Michigan fan.
He doesn't
now.
put up.
I know
he
you're a
doesn't put
Michigan
up that
fan
kind
now,
of numbers.
but you were an Ohio
no,
State
you're getting
fan.
too loud.
When he was an Ohio State
Your
fan,
bias is showing.
he still wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I still like Terry. I do think he's good,
He's
and
never
I do
had a
think his
10
situation has sucked. But he's not going to play long enough to do anything.
He has
Statistic-wise.
He's gone to one Pro Bowl. It doesn't matter how many Pro Bowl voters see that shit. He's gone to one Pro Bowl. He's never been considered a top 5 wide receiver at his position. Like, there's
I'd
always
consider him
guys that
top
are
5.
better. You do, but the general consensus does not.
There's no basis behind that.
There is
It's
Top
just
5
bias.
of reliability.
Okay, but you're not going to the Hall of Fame because you're reliable. You're going to the Hall of Fame because you're great, and he's not one of the greatest of all time.
No, he's great.
Take the blinders off, man. One of these
No
days.
blinders. Seeing clear. Clear eyes, full
All
heart.
blinders.
Tua started to see a little clear. He slid. I'm pretty sure that was this week. Still lost.
Yeah.
God bless. 30-27 against the Bills, who are a powerhouse. And I know
Supposedly.
we talked about before hitting record about Lamar Jackson is closer to 3 MVPs and another statistic. I think Josh Allen's the MVP right now because he is 7-2. He's leading this team with bum-ass wide receivers. If that isn't most valuable player, I don't know what is. Like, MVP shouldn't be best stats. It's who is most valuable. And right now, Josh Allen is the most valuable player to his team, especially because it's a quarterback award. He's the most valuable quarterback to his team right now.
It'll just be whichever the two has a better record at the end or has a better win in the last
or
2 to 3 weeks.
Allen finishes strong, the voters might say, you know what, we got to give him an MVP. We can't have Jackson win back-to-back if Allen is having it equals that.
Yeah.
But it's scary watching Josh Allen.
I think Lamar might suffer a little bit from having Derrick Henry because people will be like, "Oh, who's actually more important to this team, Derrick Henry or Lamar?"
I think the Ravens could have two players that receive MVP votes in Lamar and Derrick Henry. I think
Yeah, and that eats into Lamar's chances of winning.
Right. Other than that, I love seeing the Dolphins lose. Fuck you, Dolphins. Really,
but the Bills won.
It's a good day.
Don't matter. They're winning.
Lose.
They're winning the division. So
it's a good day when the Dolphins lose. I think for many people, it's also a good day when the Browns lose. They lost 27-10 to the LA Chargers. Jameis Winston, he was 30 for 30 that 1 year for a reason. He threw 30 touchdowns, but he also threw 30 interceptions. And
he's still more fun to watch than Deshaun Watson.
He is. He's still, absolutely. And
I see now why DTR was second on the depth chart, though.
I don't think DTR is that much better.
Can't be much worse.
He can be. I've seen him much worse.
No, listen. That stat that I sent on Twitter the other day, how Jameis Winston is already like second in dropped interceptions, and he's played 2 weeks. Like,
also,
he's got 5, and I think whoever's in first, I can't remember who it was, has 6, and it's like a quarterback that's played all year versus Winston who's played 2 games.
That's fair. He was 30 for 30 for a reason. Quentin Johnston, having a better second year than his rookie year. He had 4 catches. He's catching the ball. Big news for the Chargers.
It's progress.
We'll have progress. And then J.K. He's been solid. He doesn't get talked about a lot.
comeback
The Chargers in general, I think he should be.
Nope.
He's up there.
He's definitely up
Derrick
there.
Henry.
He's definitely up there.
Not Derrick Henry. Sam Darnold.
No.
Sam.
What do you mean no?
So they changed.
Not over JK.
They changed the comeback player of the year has to be like you're coming back from an injury or something like that.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure they did.
So they gave it to Joe Flacco and said never again.
Yep. That's exactly it.
The book saw DeMar Hamlin was, what, plus $1 million? And everybody bet on him?
Well, he died.
Well,
Yeah.
Vegas made a killing off of that then because everyone bet on DeMar Hamlin and he lost. So Vegas made $1 billion.
Yeah, they did.
So if it was up to Vegas, they'd keep it the same. But anyways,
The Chargers.
he could.
Chargers in general don't get talked about a lot, which is probably a good thing because in the past they were getting it talked about a lot for the wrong reasons, where they were just losing games for. It was funny how they were losing games. They're 5-3 right now, and they're kind of quiet about the way they're going about their business. And I think Harbaugh is really turned this team around. This is a team that's probably going to make the wild card, and I don't know how much noise they make this year in the playoffs. But they have an identity. It's something they didn't have before, where they're a ground and pound, they're a physical type team. They know what they want to be. I think the future in LA is bright as long as Justin Herbert can stay alive. Anything else?
Nope.
Damn, we're
Keep cooking.
Titans.
There's a lot of these games that just kind of suck.
I know. Titans-Patriots went to overtime. Drake May looked good. He looked good. However, he couldn't do what a former Jets quarterback did in his rookie year and beat the Titans in overtime. I was about to make that comparison. I was really expecting the Patriots to win so I could make that comparison. Like, oh, I remember the last time a AFC East quarterback beat the Titans in overtime and looked good in that game. Because, I'm hoping for a similar result. The Patriots might have something in Drake May right now. They don't have something in the rest of that team. They're not a good team. The Titans are not a good team, which is why this game went in overtime. And yeah, both teams suck.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Next game.
All right, Drew, you're up.
Oof.
Cowboys suck. They just straight up suck.
Told you it was a Mike Zimmer revenge game. Or revenge towards Mike Zimmer, I should say. Kirk hated Mike.
Why?
I don't know. He didn't want him in the first place.
Well, yeah. It's not like Mike has a very good defensive roster on the field. Team just is booty on both sides of the ball. The coaches suck. Everyone's hurt. Jerry Jones sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing. Dak gets hurt. Freaking everything's just like season's over. It's done. If it wasn't over before, it's over now. Just came out that Dak tore the hamstring off the bone.
Oof.
So that's not good. And I really appreciate all the talk shows talking about how he quit on the team. I don't think he quit on the team. His hamstring literally tore off the bone. I can't imagine that felt good. So maybe think before you start getting on these shows and shouting for views and clicks. Maybe there's a reason he came out of the game, but I know you need to stay employed, so you keep doing you, I guess. But actions have consequences, and now you look like an idiot, even though you already did before. Anyways, beside that, Jerry said, I know what'll fix this, overpaying for a terrible receiver. Thanks, Jerry. Couple things. One, we paid more for freaking Jonathan Mingo than everyone else has paid for their receiver that's infinitely better so far this year, other than the Eagles paying for Jahan Dotson, but I'm fine with that. But couple takeaways from that. One, Jerry doesn't know what he's doing, and I think their process is flawed because I've seen that they were willing to pay that much because, one, they liked him coming out of the draft a couple years ago or however long that was. Two, they're overpaying, they're compensating, paying a premium for having a cheap rookie or a cheap player on a rookie deal with 2 years left that they control, 2.5 years left. So the problem with that is if they're looking for cheap talent that they can have for a while, that means that Jerry does think that we can't do anything about our cap situation, so we're not gonna sign anyone. We're not gonna trade for anyone or anything like that because we're cash strapped. The whole pie, as Stephen Jones likes to talk about, we're giving too much of the pie to 2 or 3 players, so we can't do anything. Their hands are tied, so they had to. They were forced to go out and spend a 4th round pick for a receiver who's only going to cost $4 million over the next 2 years. So it's not a good sign for what they're thinking for the offseason and going into next year. Because you can easily restructure Dak and CD's contracts to free up $40 million each. And then you can either restructure or release Terrence Steele, and you'll have $100 million in free cap space for you to sign Micah and also make other moves. I imagine they will probably wait forever for both restructures and to sign Micah. Every week of the offseason that passes without him signed will be like another $1 million you got to add on there. So they just suck. They never do anything right. They can't. They don't do free agents right. They can't sign their own players right. They can't trade right. They just it's just bad. And we're going to do all this just to bring in Bill Belichick to be the coach and suck.
I don't know if Jerry's ego is small enough to bring in Bill Belichick. Because if Bill Belichick comes in, he's going to want total control. And Jerry Jones is going to want total control as well. Like, the connection makes sense because Belichick's going to want to go to a big name. Jerry is going to want to bring in a big name. But that power struggle, I don't know if they're going to be able to come to terms on that. Now, granted, it's Belichick, so Jerry might be like, you know what? If there's anybody that can be a better general manager than I, it's you. Because I am the greatest general manager of all time. Nobody can manage the Cowboys.
There's no one else. There's no one else that can do it. He's him.
Maybe
he's the
Bill
guy.
Belichick's that one guy that he's like, you know what? That's the one guy that can do this better than I. That's the one drawback I think I have to the Belichick to Cowboys rumors is Belichick's going to want to be the general manager as well. He's going to want that power. He's going to want that control. He wanted that in Atlanta, and he wants.
He sucked at it, so he shouldn't.
He did.
He should stop asking for that. That's why he doesn't have a job.
I agree. I am the biggest proponent of the Bill Belichick's a terrible general manager. He's just a better head coach that makes up for it. Like anybody that says he's a good general manager, he wasn't. They didn't draft well. They didn't sign a lot of quality free agents. Like they wasted money. They just were able to beat teams with scheme. They use scheme over skill. That's how they beat teams. That's why Belichick is. He's a great coach. I'm not going to argue that. He's just not a good general manager. That's my Belichick.
Yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked, though. Because, I don't know, man. Who wants to come in and work with Jerry Jones?
Yep.
Does Ben Johnson want to come and get bossed around by Jerry Jones?
No, he wants to go to the Bears.
He does not want to go to the Bears.
It's been said.
Sean McVay. Who? By who? Bears fans?
By
Tom?
Ben Johnson.
Did he say that?
By Ben Johnson himself.
I don't think he said, I want to go coach for the Bears,
Foles?
man. He would get laughed out of the freaking building.
Did not want to give up on Eberflus. Ben Johnson was going to be his main candidate. Why would he go back and be an offensive coordinator when you're one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL?
Huh?
That doesn't. What? What's that?
Because you don't want to go coach the Commanders, who was your best offer, or the Panthers?
He's never going to say that he wants to be the head coach of his rival.
Yeah. The Bears want Ben Johnson. I'm not sure that the feeling is mutual. Maybe it is. They've got a young quarterback and
Ben Johnson
offensive weapons.
said
Sure.
it was his number one choice if it opened up. And that's a fact.
When?
Go ahead and look it up. I
am looking it up. Here's
Look it
idea
up.
where
Because Tom and I have both talked about it.
It's Tom's wishful thinking as a Bears fan.
No, I brought it up to him. And he said, I wish we would have gotten rid of Eberflus so we can get Ben Johnson last year.
Everything just says that Ben Johnson makes a perfect sense for the Bears, but nowhere says that Ben Johnson said, I wanted the Bears job.
Wanting and would take is a different thing. That was his number one
Sure, I would
spot,
have taken it too.
but it wasn't open.
The Bears' job, if it was open, would have been the best because they had a first-round pick and just traded for DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. And
This
all the
was
other
last
DeAndre
year,
Swift.
so he would have had the first overall pick and another number
that's what I
9
just
overall
said.
pick. No, you said they just traded
what I
for
just
DJ
said.
Moore. That was the
He
year
was
before.
interested. It was recently revealed he was interested. But I'm also interested in other jobs. It's his job to be interested.
I would have been interested in the Bears too. First-round pick. I get to pick my guy.
Like, that doesn't mean that he went out and said, I want to be the Bears next day. He could be.
And it would have been the best job opening last year. Like, literally the other two options were the Commanders and the Panthers and
Probably should have taken the Commanders.
Atlanta, I guess.
Yeah, because the Chargers job, that was Harbaugh's no matter what.
Yeah. Patriots, that was already Mayo's,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't have wanted it anyways, really. Yeah, Bears would have been the best if it was open, but it wasn't. It will be this year, so maybe it is still the best. Cowboys are a better name, but you got to work with Jerry Jones.
That's the thing, like, and the pressure of that, like, the pressure of. That's why they got Mike McCarthy, because he was already a head coach. Like, he's already dealt with being a head coach. You're going to want a fresh young mind like a Ben Johnson, but a fresh young mind like Ben Johnson isn't going to want to come in to Dallas with the star and have the pressure of needing to win right away and work with Jerry Jones and deal with Jerry Jones.
It's possible. There's a lot of pressure, but if you do succeed, you will be a living legend immediately.
The Jets say the same thing, man. That's the same argument every time.
The Jets have been looking for a legend for a long time.
The saying is, if you win in New York, you'll be a legend forever.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Because
won
they need
yet.
one. It's
That's why
they
there's
need
no
one,
legends.
yeah. There's no legend.
The only legend is a guy that won a Super Bowl 50-plus years ago. It's the only legend we got. Or Darrelle Revis, who won a Super Bowl with another team.
Yeah. That's the New York legend.
That's a legend.
Yeah, the Cowboys suck. I don't really want to talk about them too much because they just suck. It makes me very sad. Can I think of any good things? Overshown is pretty good. And that's about it.
I love that dude coming out.
Yeah, he's sick. He's sweet. He's about the only person on defense you can see playing with real effort. And it's good to see. I hope that we can turn things around for him and it's not another player that we've ruined their career and wasted their talents. But I'm sure he'll just get added to the list of what could have been.
I feel that. On the Falcons side, Kirk looked fine. Drake London. What's his...
He hurt his hip. I mean, he was like... It wasn't like he was completely knocked out of the game. He was just questionable. I just really think that they knew they didn't need him to come back in. So they're like, yeah, just go ahead and sit out.
Darnell Mooney's been a nice pickup. Him and Kirk have had a good relationship.
Bijan was good because the Cowboys suck.
That's about it. 27-21.
Kyle Pitts did nothing.
The Cowboys almost came back, though.
Yeah, something like that. That's why we traded for a receiver. We're almost there. We almost
They're
had
almost
it.
there. They're almost there.
Only lost by a touchdown.
We've been so close in all these games, guys.
Yeah.
We're so close. Even though our quarterback's gone.
Even though our quarterback's gone, and we're playing Cooper Rush for some reason instead of the quarterback that we traded a 4th-round pick for. The thing is, how you should do this is if you're still competing for the playoffs, you play Rush. If your season is over, like it is, you play Lance.
Yeah.
You need to either A, see if he can play, and if you can't, then you just you can keep him as your emergency QB and like sign him to a super cheap deal because his contract's up after this year. Or he plays well, and if he plays too well, if he plays well at all, you probably just either trade him if someone's willing to trade him,
Or you stash him.
or you get a comp pick. You get a comp pick when someone signs him. Those are like your best two options because he's not going to play well enough to beat out Dak, and he's not going to. If he plays well enough, he'll probably be more expensive than Cooper Rush. So you don't want to bring him back as a second string, as a backup. So just throw him out there. If he plays well, you get a comp pick, or you can trade him. If he plays bad, then you give up on the whole project, keep him as your emergency QB3, and he helps you in practice, on the practice squad or in practice. So as the mobile QB when you go up against those, and depending on who you're playing that week. So
that's easy for us to say as observers, though. But like Mike McCarthy, even though he's cooked, in the back of his mind, he's probably still like, I gotta do what I can to save my job.
Yeah, probably.
Which is why they're going to
he's on the last year of his deal. I see that as well, and that's what the radio was saying this morning about the Giants and why they didn't really like have a fire sale is because Dave Olin, Schoen or whatever GM's name is, are like, if they have a fire sale, that's just admitting that they're done. They're
and
gone.
if you have a fire sale, you're not going to reap the benefits of what you get back.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be the one that uses those picks or whatever you acquire. You're setting the next guy up. So,
yep.
If you're going down, take everybody down with you. Speaking of going down, the Raiders, 41-24, lost the Bengals. Gardner Minshew didn't look good. He was benched for Desmond Ridder, guys. Like, that is... Minshew is, like, another one of those quarterbacks who you can trust to have a good game, like, start a game here or there and do well. But if you need him the entire year, there's a reason the Jaguars were in a spot to draft Trevor Lawrence. Minshew played well that first game, and then they lost the next 15. Like, that's just who he's a journeyman backup. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a hell of a career to have.
You're growing crazy on those sticks, brother.
What you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? I hear you.
Trying to win.
Raiders suck. Bengals also kind of suck, but they're not. It's not that bad.
They'll squeak into the playoffs, but how much noise they make. They're another one of those teams I just don't expect to make a lot of noise in the playoffs.
I mean, they just randomly like perform like they should. With Jamar Chase and T. Higgins has been hurt, but once he comes back, but like, there's a lot of like the other week when they go toe to toe with the Ravens, and then they come out and have a freaking stinker against whoever it was.
The Eagles.
I forget who they played after that.
Well, after
Eagles,
the Ravens.
yeah.
Oh, after the Ravens, they beat the Giants 17-7. That was their
the Giants. Yeah, and it was a terrible game.
And then they beat the Browns. They lost to the Eagles. Joe Burrow scored 5 touchdowns, though, and none of those went to Jamar Chase. Which I think is hilarious.
Antonio Pierce was a mistake.
It was.
He's a fraud. He's a phony.
Yep.
He's never allowed back in the state of Arizona. And he should be tried for his crimes.
I appreciate the Raiders giving him a chance because I thought he earned the chance to at least be seriously considered.
They got freaking grilled for the last interim that
led
the Raiders. I forgot his name the other day, but Bisaccia.
Yep, Rich Bisaccia.
He led the Raiders to the playoffs, and everyone was like, all the players loved him, but they went and got freaking McDaniels or whatever. And then he ended up sucking. And then Pierce comes in, and the players love him again. But it turns out he's not that good of a coach. He doesn't have any head coaching experience. Well, he does now, obviously, and technically this is his first year, so maybe it's not exactly like the roster was good.
It's his coaching
in the first
staff.
place, but
he's still figuring it out. But I still appreciate the fact that they gave him a serious shot. At the minimum, gave him a serious shot at the job. We're kind of seeing he might not have deserved it, and that might set the Raiders back a little bit. But I mean, like the talent on this team just isn't that good either. Like.
Apparently, Shador Sanders has tweeted every time the Raiders have lost, like, thank you, God, or something like that. So
that dude wants to go to Vegas.
He's going. And Mark Davis, they were at some sort of event or basketball game or something. He was like, it was in Vegas, and he was like, this might be your home.
You know,
Mark Davis
wants that high-profile quarterback, that big name, in his beautiful Vegas stadium.
Yeah, he's a Raider.
Cam, you got anything on Raiders Bengals?
No. Good job for Burrow.
Staying in the AFC North, Ravens Broncos 41-10. Ravens are just a powerhouse.
Broncos smoked one of the best defenses in the league.
Right. The Broncos have overperformed or outperformed expectations because of that defense, and the Ravens just put 41 on that defense.
Pretty good.
I'd say so.
Imagine not wanting Derrick Henry. Cam, by the way, Derrick Henry, you can go ahead and talk about him going to the Hall of Fame. That's a real Hall of Famer.
That's a Hall of Famer.
I'm sorry, has he won a Super Bowl yet?
What does that have to do with anything?
Has he won an AFC championship yet?
What does that have to do with
I'm
anything?
just saying.
Did Terry McLaurin?
No.
Terry.
So
All right.
So if you're gonna come at me with my argument about Terry, I'm gonna come at you with the same shit.
It's not the same argument. That's not.
Except one's the best running back in the league and has been for multiple years.
System running
This
back.
dude is saying. This dude
System
is
running
saying,
back.
No,
He's been on 2 rushing teams. He's getting 40 carries a game. Yeah, I freaking hope you have Hall of Fame stats.
Get this guy out of here.
Dude is a first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL rushing yards leader, 2-time NFL rushing touchdowns leader, Offensive Player of the Year. That's not even comparable to Terry McLaurin's resume. Why are we having this conversation?
He's on pace for 2K yards.
He got baited.
He's like 28 years old.
I got baited. I took that bait. I definitely took it.
Actually, he might not be on pace.
No, he is. I think he is on pace.
Because he hit 1,000 in week 9, so technically he'll be slightly behind pace.
Math is hard.
Depending on if they've had their bye already or not, I guess. I don't know. He's going to be close at the age where running backs should be done.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a touchdown at least in every game. He's hit 1,000 yards rushing by week 9. Like, he's nuts. He's had 2K rushing yards at least once. Maybe twice. I can't remember.
You can't hate Derrick Henry. He puts in the work in the offseason. We've all seen his crazy workouts.
He's a beast. That is a Hall of Famer.
He was 2K in 2020, and the next closest would be 1540 in 2019, and then 2022 a 1538.
He is. He's entering. I've thought this for a while. He's entering like not best running back of all time territory, but like top 7, top 5.
I think he's the best running back of this generation.
In a generation that running backs are fungible. Shout out Dylan.
Maybe.
Dude's
And the
got
one that hasn't been is Derrick Henry.
Dude has a career average of 4.8 yards a carry.
It's pretty good.
I'd say so. He's got 101 touchdowns, 10,554 yards all time. I'd say that's pretty good.
I would say
Right.
so.
What were you saying earlier about the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and his potential
3 MVPs before 3 playoff wins.
It's legit. Like, he could. It's going to come down to, like we were talking about earlier, it's going to come down to him and Josh Allen, probably.
And Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff. I was thinking about that one earlier. As well as Jared Goff has been playing, because he's been playing very well, I don't know if he's the MVP, because I don't want to call him a system, but he kind of is a system quarterback. He
definitely is.
He is very, very good in the system that he's in. It's a good system for Jared Goff, and he's maximizing it.
And he's playing in a dome like 14 games out of 17.
This last game, let's jump right into that game, actually. 24-14 win for the Lions over the Packers outside in the rain, and the Lions still get it done. This is just a tough team to beat. This is because they can't beat you through the air. They can't beat you on the ground. The defense got better with the Zadarius Smith trade. They needed that after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. it's not even a joke anymore. Like, the Lions are the top dog in the NFC. There's no argument to be made yet. As of now, as of November 6, 2024, after 9 weeks, the Lions are the best team in not just the NFC, but the NFL. The Chiefs have the best record, but if you were to ask me what team do I think is playing better as of today, it's the Lions. I've been more impressed with the Lions than I have been the Chiefs. And Jared Goff is playing well. That running game, like, it doesn't matter who's in the backfield. It's hard to stop either Montgomery or Gibbs. And then if you try stopping them, Amon-Ra's getting open. Sam Laporte is getting open. You can still get Gibbs out of the backfield. They're finding guys. Khalif Raymond, who the hell is he?
Jameson Williams, when he's not suspended for drugs and guns
Yeah.
and gambling.
They're finding ways to win, and they are gritty wins. I've been impressed with this team. They're doing what they want to do. What Dan Campbell has installed in this team.
You mean Bountygate?
Nope.
No.
No, that's
Not-
what I've been told.
I'm sure you have.
It is a dirty team. I'm not gonna lie. It is a dirty team. They're winning, but the way that
the dirtiest player got hurt, so
the way that they're
it's dirty
playing,
now.
it's always been dirty.
You sound like
I don't think so.
I lost my
Sound
tight
like a
end
hater.
for the last 4 weeks of my 2023 season, and then I just got back my favorite tight end that I've ever seen play last week, because
That's crazy.
instead of tackling like a man, we go for kneecaps with our helmets.
I mean,
Jordan
You're
Love gets his ankle rolled up on, and it's blatantly obvious. Sam Darnold should have been out for the next 3 weeks if he did not dodge Brian Branch's freaking piss missile straight to his forehead when he was sliding. We're not going to ignore that fact.
we're
That's all
also
I'm
not
saying
going to
about the game.
ignore that the Lions aren't the only team that have players that hit and aren't pansies and try making plays. Like,
Hit him like a man. Get stronger in the weight room. Stop using your helmets. Stop
That's-
twisting ankles.
It's crazy.
that's wild.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon, Lions. I
I
can't
already
wait.
saw you.
They
I
did.
already saw you.
And then we are a field goal attempt away from maybe winning that game.
You were not making that field
Well,
goal,
too
bro.
bad your kicker sucks.
It was a 65-yarder.
Your kicker sucks and he's hurt now.
Kicker doesn't suck. Excuse me, he's missed 2 kicks the whole season.
Yeah, pretty bad.
That's really bad. You know what sucks? I only having 2 wins the whole season.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would
Good thing
suck.
I've got 3.
I'm talking to you. I'm talking about other NFL teams.
You got
of
3
course.
too.
What?
We've got 3.
Jets have 3.
Gill's got 3. I've
That's
got
what I said.
I always had 3 too.
Oh, yeah, I got 6.
Dude, your arguments. They don't make sense.
Dude, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed.
All right.
It's 9 o'clock. When are you old?
Sleepy Cam over
Go to
here.
work at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Sleepy Cam.
Sounds like a bitch. Lions, Packers. I'm impressed with the Lions.
I'm not.
Of course you aren't. You're a hater.
Karma's coming. Karma is coming.
This is karma. First of
Yeah.
all, karma's both
The
good
Super
and
Bowl
bad.
is karma for infinity years of being terrible.
Yeah.
No, you should have treated Barry Sanders better.
They should have.
That's
They should have
your-
treated Calvin Johnson better.
Yeah,
but
so
now
you made your
they're
own
turning
karma.
around.
You dug your own grave and you sat in it for a long time.
they made up with Calvin Johnson, and that's why he
And Barry
talks to the team now.
Barry's
And
there all the
Barry, yeah.
time. They made up.
Barry's always there. Calvin's always there now.
You know what's so? Remember when Peyton Manning and what was that dude's name? The
I know what
comedian.
you're talking about.
They did a bathtub thing that was supposed to
No.
help.
Get rid of the curse.
Yep, get rid of curses. Since then, they've been winning. It's crazy. I wish the Jets would do something to get rid of curses. Speaking of curses, the Bears definitely have a quarterback curse. They do the
Boring
same
game.
thing every time. Mr. Trubisky, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams.
Let
Where
me put this into perspective. It's the number 1 overall pick, the number 2 overall pick, and the number 11 overall pick in the span of 7 years, and you failed on every single one of them. One is to be determined.
yeah,
Yep.
that's what happens when you keep a lame duck head coach with a rookie. They've done that 3 straight times now. And this is what happens. Also, this is what happens when a quarterback like Caleb Williams wears number 18. But Cardinals get the 29-9 win in Arizona, and the Cardinals, that ground game, man, that was scary for me watching them and thinking like, oh, we play them next week. Cool. James Conner, when he gets cooking, he gets cooking. So what was the reaction after the game down there?
I would say the same as last week. They're high on it. They enjoyed how they played because they love James Conner and the run game. Kyler didn't have to do a whole lot. Really, the whole team didn't have. I mean, they were just gashing him on the ground. Amari DiMercato getting freaking long touchdown runs against the Bears.
Tyler did rob Trey McBride of his first career touchdown. Because
Trey Benson scored 9 points in fantasy.
Trey Benson scored his first touchdown. They're also not scared of the Jets.
I wouldn't be.
A very winnable game. They always laugh at Aaron Rodgers. They don't like him.
Fair.
But no, I think they went into this game expecting to be able to win because the Bears they're in a bad spot, especially after the Commanders game. It just seems like the team is imploding on itself. I mean, DJ Moore walked off the field during a play.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
Which
that's a tough one.
I see like people like he took himself out because he went out of bounds, and like if Caleb would have thrown it to him, it would have been a penalty. But like, at least stay and keep your guy like on you.
Yeah.
Because now it's 11-10. But yeah, it's a bad situation for the Bears. The Cardinals have a pretty easy path to win the NFC West, which is crazy.
They're first right now.
They are in first place.
That is nuts.
Yes. And the rest of their schedule, I mean, the hardest games they'll have, if I'm remembering off the top of my head, are the Niners, of course, who they've already beat once, and the Rams, who now have Kupp and Nakua back, who look, pretty decent, but still.
Do they play the Vikings?
Demolished.
They do.
They play the Vikings, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
So
we're
they've
coming
got-
after that midget.
Hey, Shore Kings, we're fine, okay? No need for that, okay? Let's keep the hate speech to a minimum today, the day after the election, all right? No hate speech
Nah,
on Party Chat
Frick
Sports.
Kyler. I hope you play COD all week the week we play you.
But the Cardinals host the Jets. They go to Seattle, go to Minnesota, then host Seattle, host the Patriots, go to Carolina, go to the Rams, host the Niners. That's
Easy
winnable.
schedule.
That is a easy schedule for them. They probably lose the Vikings.
And the
I'd
Niners.
imagine
maybe.
they probably. Well, we'll see.
Niners won't
So-
let it happen again.
Maybe not. But
They're going to make
the
the
last
push for
week
the
of the
playoffs.
season.
that's what. It's
Yeah,
the
they're
last
gonna
week
have
of the
to.
season.
Cardinals are going to be the ones sitting their starters.
We'll see. That game could be a NFC West title game. It
I
could
hope
be.
it is. We never get games like that anymore.
No. I feel like there was last year, 2 years ago, because they'll flex that last week, or they don't. The last week of the year, all the games are TBD because they want the freedom to adjust the schedule as they want as they get closer. I want to say Bills Dolphins last year might have been for the AFC East. Anyways, that could be for the title. They probably split with the Seahawks, lose to the Vikings. They're beating the Patriots and the Panthers. How'd they do against the Rams last time?
You forget
Demolished
trap
them.
games.
Oh, they killed killed the Rams, 41-10.
You can't have a trap game when you're the Cardinals. You're supposed to be the trap game.
Yeah, well now you're not. You're first in your division.
But they're not a team that suffers from trap games.
Like I don't
because
see,
they're not good enough.
especially so like for the Patriots, the Patriots are going to be coming to them. So that's a cross-country trip for the Patriots. That shouldn't be a trap. The trap could be when they have to travel across the country to the Panthers, if any. Like, that's the only trap I see on here. Because that's the thing. Same thing with the Jets, too. The Jets have to go to Arizona, cross-country. That doesn't bode well for the Jets. It bodes well for the Cardinals. Let's see. When they travel across the country, they played Miami. They beat them 28-27. Doesn't look like. Oh, they lost to the Bills. They lost to the Bills week 1 in Buffalo, but that's the Bills.
And it was close.
At
least it was close for part of it.
They went to Green Bay, 34-13, and lost. Like, there's not enough. I wouldn't really. That's midway. That's halfway across the country. That's only 2 time zones or one. Is it 1 time zone or 2 time zone?
2.
Are you guys
You're going across Central and West Coast?
Are you guys West Coast or are you guys? Or I mean Pacific or are you guys Mountain?
We're our own.
Oh yeah, you guys are.
Right now we are Mountain, but at the time we were Pacific.
Yeah.
So at the time they would have gone through
That's
Mountain
only one
time and then been in Central time in Green Bay. Yeah. So
that's 1 time zone.
So they lose an hour essentially.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, it would have been 2 hours at the time.
Anyways.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Above our pay grades here, talking about time zones.
Can't wait for it to never happen again.
The Cardinals have a winnable schedule moving forward. That is crazy. Crazy work. Sticking with the NFC West. This game went to OT. Rams, Seahawks. Biggest Geno supporter here. Geno did not play well in the red zone. Between the 20s, I thought Geno had a good game. When they got to the red zone, he folded. 2 interceptions.
The story of the Seahawks.
Yeah. But, we're heading into this game, I don't know if he still is a passing yards leader in the league.
Geno?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
DeMarcus Robinson needs to just freaking chill out because he's having a revival season with Stafford.
Puka got ejected.
Geno Smith is still the passing yards leader.
In like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What had happened last week?
Was it bad?
So, Geno's a passing yards leader, but he's also tied with Jordan Love for interceptions.
Drew, he threw a punch, and like it wasn't like a.
That was soft. That was a soft penalty.
It wasn't malicious. It's the get off of me punch.
Yeah, it was soft.
And if it used both hands and just pushed him, he would have been fine.
There were 2 ejections this week, weren't there?
Brian Branch.
Yep.
Dirty ass Lions player.
That shouldn't have been an ejection either.
You should. Yeah, well, it's a repeating offense for that man. Get him off the field. Suspend him. Teach him a lesson. Headhunting.
He's not
Teach him a
headhunting.
lesson. Suspend him for the season, or at least the Vikings game.
You're a bitch. That's a real bitch thing to say.
I said suspend him for the season, or just the Vikings game.
Yeah,
you have options.
You know what? That's a pussy ass thing to say. By the way,
were we not talking like at the start of the season something about the 49ers players not playing, and we're hoping they wouldn't play?
Oh yeah, because their contracts. That was a contract thing. That was a contract thing. Not
specifically, yeah.
Headhunting. Not because they're headhunting. That was I hope their contracts don't get re-signed. Completely different scenarios.
Anyways, good job for the Rams.
Huge win for the Rams, but also Jackson Smith and Jigba, dude.
He's back. He's so back.
I don't think he's ever been gone.
No, he was gone for a little bit last year. It was
He's a rookie.
very on and off.
You'll have that
and then
for
also
a rookie.
and then also we didn't get to see him in his last year at Ohio State because of another headhunter at Notre Dame.
He's just a crybaby. That's all you are.
I don't like seeing good players being taken off the field. I want to appreciate what they're doing.
Well, it's a violent sport. It's gonna happen. If you don't like the violence, go watch. Like,
If you don't want good players taken off the field, why do you want Branch ejected and suspended?
Because he needs to be taught a lesson. Suspend him for the Vikings game.
dude, if you are gonna cry about a violent sport, go watch water polo.
I mean, that's pretty
Or
violent.
swimming.
People can
Or
drown.
swimming.
People can drown in that. That's pretty violent.
Also, the absence of DK Metcalf with Jackson Smith and Jigba playing as well as he was, I don't think was as noticeable. But I do wonder if some of those interceptions that he threw, actually one of them was just plain out bad. It was bad. I do wonder if some of those would not have happened if DK was in the mix. But either way, you got to play with what you got. JSN did enough to help the Seahawks win. And when you lose by a touchdown after throwing 2 interceptions in the red zone, that's the difference.
And in
That's the
OT.
difference.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Or
you lost by
not
6
not
in
converting.
OT. You threw 2 interceptions in the red zone and lost by 6 in OT. That's the difference in this game.
Yeah.
Eagles, Jaguars. Eagles look good, and boy, did Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Best play of all time.
I
It
feel
might be.
bad. Who was even the dude that he hurdled? Because
I
that
think
picture is going to be shown forever, and
Yeah.
he is just going to be known as a guy that Saquon hurled backwards.
I think it's like
Yeah.
Olukunen or Olukunen or something. It was a linebacker. I know that.
It looked like a DB. It was small.
Yeah, but some linebackers are smaller.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Micah.
probably like the best play of all time.
It was insane. Like, you know, it's crazy when I love seeing like the sideline footage and like all the other views that people have. Like, they just were recording at that moment, or they probably record a lot of the game anyway, like some of these fans. But to capture that in front of you, it's sick. For those that know which angle and video I'm talking about, but also the sideline view, where like all the players like, holy shit, what did I just watch? Like, when those athletes are in that much of a awe, it's like, this is special. I can't wait for that.
Crazy.
I can't wait for that to be in Madden next year, and a
It's
bunch
crazy.
of people trying to.
It's going to be in the trailer.
That's not the first time he attempted that too. I'm pretty sure he did it once on the Giants and tried to 360 it while jumping backwards.
I did see
saw
that. I did see that. That he tried doing it before.
But he hit it.
He's just
He hit
nuts.
it.
He's spamming buttons on his own controller and seeing what happens and what
freaking
works.
worked. I thought Saquon would be washed, but he is not washed.
Far from it.
He's playing pretty well. He's carrying the Eagles.
The score makes that game look a lot closer than it actually was, in my opinion.
It does. It didn't feel like a 20. It didn't feel like a 5-point win for the Eagles. It felt like a 2-score win. Like, Jalen Hurts was kind of tossing it around. I thought throwing the ball, he looked fine. Devontae Smith had a one-handed catch that was kind of cool. Like, Hurts put the ball just in a spot for Smith. And Smith has been playing well the last couple weeks, too.
It was fine. People were saying it was better than Garrett Wilson's.
It was,
No.
Anybody that's saying that is just
It
an
was.
Eagles fan.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Those are only Eagles fans. And I know I'm biased, but, like,
No, Garrett Wilson beats OBJ's catch, in my opinion.
the only
What?
reason I don't think it does is because OBJ's was with 3 fingers, right? These 3 fingers
And it
is
was
all he
I think
used.
it was much more extension too. His body was like
Yeah, he went
Curved
all the way
backwards.
back. Like that. That's what he did.
yeah.
I'm just thinking about the velocity of the ball. Aaron Rodgers probably throws a much harder ball than Eli Manning.
But Eli's was
That
farther.
dude had to stick it in his palms, get his shin down because he couldn't get his other foot down.
Listen, Mr. OSU bias, just let it be. It's not better than OBJ.
The only reason it's better
No.
than OBJ's is because OBJ's team lost that game and Garrett Wilson's
Yes.
team won that game.
Yes.
That catch was made it. All right, speaking of being biased, Cam, you're up.
Listen,
21-13.
we're beating the 2016 allegations. We didn't lose 5 games after we started started off 5-0. We beat those allegations. We went off the road a little bit, but we're back. A little fun stat for you: the Colts did not take a red zone snap. The Vikings played one of the most sloppiest games that they played all year. Will the Thrill? Hey, dude, if you're hurt, let the coach know. I get it. You don't want to lose your spot, but don't go out and embarrass me in front of my friends when I'm telling them that you're the best kicker alive right now. If you're hurt, you're hurt. It's okay to take a day off. Now you're on IR. And who knows if you would be on IR if you just didn't kick at all that game. Let the coach know that you're hurt. It's okay.
Convenient excuse.
You were drafted and you were a kicker. They think highly of you. With that being said, Jordan Addison, free 3. Good get-back game. I think they made it a point to get him the ball. Great catch in the back of the end zone. Some say is the best catch of all time. Justin Jefferson, still cooking. Dude, you can't stop him right now. Sam Darnold decided to show his past self in the first half. The way he fought back and overcame adversity, I loved seeing. There's no reason. This game should have probably been a 3-score game. We don't miss those kicks that he usually makes, especially the 31-yarder. And then the Colts don't kick a field goal to make it a 1-score game. This game could easily have been 21-10 or 27-10.
A lot of things that didn't happen happened. It would be a 3-score game.
This game could have been 27-10. The fact is, Joe Flacco, on paper, had a good game, but you didn't get in the red zone. So, with certain people missing on defense, specifically linebackers, I'm proud of the way they played. I'm glad that they got over the hump. They're 6-2. We're sitting pretty. We're second in the NFC North. We're the first wild card team in. Great job by the Vikings. A lot of stuff to clean up. Fire Ed Ingram and Garrett Bradbury into the sun. I don't know how they're NFL offensive linemen if you're constantly stepping on each other. Like, dude, you've been playing with each other for 3 years. I don't think Drew or his counterpart ever stepped on each other running the veer offense, and vice versa on the other side. Figure it out, okay?
Figured it is.
Our splits were much wider.
Let's stop stepping on each other. You've tripped up quarterbacks, and you're making linemen look like they're the best thing since sliced bread. Okay?
They are.
Figure it out.
Colts D-line's decent.
By the way, Cam Robinson, great trade. 2 pressures allowed, 0 sacks. I'm very happy to see that. I would like to see him play guard once Darisaw comes back next year. I don't want to lose him because he played a phenomenal game, and he was there since Wednesday, and he had to start on Sunday. So good job by the Vikings. A lot of stuff to clean up, but we're 6-2. I'm more than ecstatic with it. A semi-easier schedule coming up, playing all the AFC South teams. We've already taken care of one. Let's go finish off the rest.
Did you forget to mention the Dexter Lawrence trade?
It didn't happen. I don't know why we're cowards. Traded first for him.
Probably because he wasn't available.
Probably.
Or go get Dalvin Tomlinson, but get a bigger body. The pressure is a problem right now.
It's kind of late now, bud.
I don't trust Stephon Gilmore with more than 5 seconds of having to cover any younger wide receiver.
If you are covering somebody for 5 seconds, 5 seconds is a long time, taken from experience.
Okay.
But
Let's
5 seconds,
say 3 then.
like that's the average play is like somewhere. Yeah, the average play is between 2 to 3 seconds. I'd say that's average. 2 to 3 is average.
Average time to release.
Yeah.
Quarterback releasing the pass.
You're so proud of yourself. Good job. Look at you, smiling over there.
Set yourself up there.
Go Vikings. Should have been a 2-score win, but again, Colts are on the 2017 Vikings train of losing every game by less than 2 possessions. And Joe Flacco, you need to retire, buddy.
Yeah, he's probably should be his last year. This needs to be his last year.
But he was seeing ghosts in the last 2 quarters. He was terrified
Sam
back
Darnold
there.
saying?
Even though Collinsworth kept saying, "Oh, he's looking real comfortable back there, and he just got sacked, but play after that, he's really setting in and getting comfortable." Like, no, he wasn't. Look at his eyes. He's terrified. And then he threw a pick. You didn't get your team in the red zone. Stop glorifying Joe Flacco. He had a great season last year. We're not glorifying him anymore. Let's move on.
Fucking bet. It's almost like maybe you shouldn't bench the rookie quarterback after only 10 games. Like, that's going to solve everything.
You still should.
Oh, wait a minute. One last thing. The refs hate Sam Darnold. Yeah. Dude just takes haymakers to his head, and they don't call it.
He's probably sleeping with their sisters and daughters and getting mono or passing along mono to their significant others.
I mean, he's out there doing his thing, being a dog, but at the same time...
Yeah, he was in New York, too. That's how he got mono.
I can't imagine how much that might hurt just getting clubbed by Buckner. Just a straight bicep from Buckner. Just what's the move they do in WWE where they just
clothesline?
Yeah, a clothesline. Just straight clotheslined, leading to a score. Figure it out, refs. If we can't review that, if you're gonna call the flag and then pick it up, no, that's ridiculous.
Figured it out. All right, final game of the week. Monday Night Football. The Chiefs hosted the Buccaneers. And you knew this game was over as soon as the coin toss happened. Like, you knew it. I knew it. Still,
you knew it.
I was impressed that the Buccaneers kept it as close as they did. If Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, either one of those two, played in this game, the Buccaneers probably win. They obviously didn't. Patrick Mahomes looked better this week. Kareem Hunt, hell yeah. Let's go. The Rocket
legend.
Dude just keeps kicking it, man. 27 carries, 106 yards, and another touchdown for him. He's just been a touchdown machine. Oh, he's been punting it in there into the end zone weekly. I love seeing that. Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
That's a trade. That trade should have been illegal. Like, when you can go into fantasy and you can veto trades? The NFL should start doing that for anybody that trades to the Chiefs.
What did they trade him for, Gill?
Not shit.
No, what's the
less than what we got
round?
Mingo for?
Yeah. The specifics of that was rounds not shit and
probably 5 and 6 or 6 and 7 or 5 and 7 or something like that.
A conditional 5th round pick that can become a 4th. Dude,
how are the Chiefs affording these people?
Hold on. If that's what the Chiefs gave up to get DeAndre Hopkins, I wonder what the Cowboys could have given up to get him.
Maybe a third.
It's probably what they would have paid.
Probably.
Two first.
That's probably why everything's too expensive. They keep calling teams like, yeah, I'll take a first for this guy.
Don't be too high on yourself. It's 2 firsts from Jerry.
They don't know how to negotiate. It's either take it or leave it. But yeah, I mean, Cade Otton has become reliable for Baker. Mm-hmm. Sterling Shepard, forgot that dude was still around. The Buccaneers will be fine offensively moving forward. And
they're not going to be good enough.
No. I don't. Well, let's see. They've got a schedule that's favorable. They host the 49ers, maybe not quite favorable there. But once we start moving through November, looks like they can have a bye week. They'll come back from their bye week to play the Giants, play the Panthers, host the Raiders. That's a 3-game stretch right there.
These are the teams competing for the wild cards in the NFC. The Packers, the Vikings, The Cardinals/Niners.
The Lions.
Actually, I'd say almost
No.
every NFC West team is competing.
I don't
I'd
know
say the
about all
Seahawks
that.
and
The Commanders/Eagles. There's a lot of
It's-
teams there,
it's
and
going
only
to
so
start
many
to-
spots.
that's what I'm getting at. Like that's that 3-game stretch right there. They come out of that, depending on how everything else looks. You're going into December 15th with a game at the Chargers. That's a toss-up, I'd say, as of right now. Then
They're at a disadvantage with their current record, though. What's their current record? 3-4 wins.
3 and gosh darn it. No, it's not 3.
I thought it
4
was
and
like
5.
4-4.
4 and 5. 4 and 5. They play the Cowboys in Dallas.
Dub.
Then they host the
Thanking for
Panthers.
Shadur.
They host the Panthers and they host the Saints. It's favorable, but they might have lost too many games already. Like that's probably a game where we're looking back. It's like probably had to have that game in Casey.
I mean, if they go on a 3-game win streak, they will have 7 wins. The Commanders and Eagles have 6 already, at least.
Yeah.
Vikings have 6.
Vikings
I
have
get that.
6.
Lions have 7.
Cardinals have 5.
And you can't put out the 49ers. They're going to come
Mike
back.
Evans and Chris Godwin were there, yeah, they're definitely competing. They're going to be like, they're going to have a season. It was like, man, it was close. It was a good shot, but you didn't make it.
What's going to end up happening is it's going to come down to if they can win the division or not. Can they?
They cannot.
Probably not.
Falcons are running away with
Lost
it.
to the Falcons twice.
They did. They did.
That's pretty much all she wrote on that, unless the Falcons collapse somehow.
Falcons could collapse. I can't wait for Kirk to slap his, all over the Vikings on December 8th.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Kirk game, honestly. I can't wait to blitz the shit out of him.
What if Kirk wins by like 30?
I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
I think this team is going to be motivated going into that game.
Here's my big
They
question.
like Kirk.
Here's my big question. When do the Chiefs lose?
Never.
Like, they're not going 17-0. I don't think.
But what if they do?
They're going to lose to the Chargers.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, they'll probably lose to the Chargers or the Raiders
Yep.
for some reason.
Maybe even the Broncos.
See,
Broncos might give them their best bet.
They have the Broncos this week, and then they go to Buffalo. That's going to be a damn good game. They go to
Mahomes
Carolina.
owns Josh Allen, though.
Hold on. Let's just imagine this scenario real quick. They beat the Broncos, they beat the Bills, and then they go to Carolina, and Panthers are the one that gives them their first loss.
It'd be like a Washington Washington football team against the Steelers.
It's like Purdue upsetting everybody.
Yeah.
It's in Carolina, too, where Purdue always, typically, not this year, typically upsets ranked teams when they host them. Maybe the Panthers do. I'm not counting on it. I'm not putting money on it. I just think that's funny. Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos is the rest of the Chiefs' schedule.
17
They've got to
wins.
lose at some point.
Dare I say it's going to be the Steelers just because of the pressure?
17-0, 3-peat. Mahomes gets inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's not fair
Travis Kelce marries Taylor Swift.
on stage.
Help us, Sam
On
Darnold.
the
You're our
field.
only hope.
He is going. Stop.
I don't think Sam Darnold.
Travis Kelce's going to propose with a Super Bowl ring.
I thought they were supposed to break up. Isn't that
Be crazy.
I thought it was given to him by a lawyer, like you're breaking up on this date.
No.
I mean, yeah, if you believe everything you see on Twitter.
I'd like to sometimes. I saw Dexter Lawrence got traded to the Vikings.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's been week 9 of the NFL season. We kind of touched on a few of the trades that have gone on. We didn't really want to just break down every trade because the trade deadline just kind of came and gone. It wasn't really interesting. I feel like the biggest trade that happened was Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders. Big gift for the Commanders, who are about to
They're
hopefully...
scared.
They're scared of
Scared of
Mingo.
Mingo.
They're so scared of Mingo.
I thought Mingo might have been the biggest one.
I mean, biggest as far as everyone was
Terrible.
like, "Hi, you guys are idiots."
But other than that, not a lot happened.
Season's
on the
halfway
deadline.
over.
It is. We're in the back half now.
Unless you're a Cowboys fan, then it's all the way over.
Yeah, we're in the back half now. We're on to week 10 of 18. It's
so sad.
crazy. That's crazy. So we'll be back next week, recapping week 10 of the NFL season. I'm planning to put a parlay out this weekend. I'll go out either Friday or Saturday. I'll put a parlay together for a parlay of the week. Make sure you go check out everything that we've got going on Party Chat Sports. We've got a TikTok/YouTube short on Dak. Those always do good numbers. We got other TikToks up as well. Believe it or not, all at Party Chat Sports. Follow us on Twitter or X at Party Chat Sports, wherever you get your content. It's consuming us on YouTube or podcast-wise. Again, all at Party Chat Sports. Final thoughts? Anybody after week 9 of the NFL season?
Go Vikings.
No.
All right. Easy peasy. Hope everyone has a great week 10. Again, stay tuned to the feed for everything that we've got going on at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, wish you guys all good luck unless your teams are playing ours. Until next time, peace.
Go NFL.
I'm going to get you that hat. I'm going to...